Hi, Captain Mike from Forbes Fishing, and it's wintertime here in New Jersey, so boats out of the water, and I'm doing some maintenance to my reels. And one thing that I noticed this past season was the clickers are starting to get weak. Let's just first compare what a brand new clicker sounds like to one that's worn out. All right, you could barely hear that one. Do that again. You guessed it, in this episode we'll be fixing a reel clicker. The tools we're going to need to perform the clicker repair on the Avet LX6.0 are a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver, number 1 or smaller straight slot screwdriver. I have an eyeglass screwdriver here, it works perfect. You're going to need the clicker arm, and you can get that directly from Avet. If you call them and tell them what reel you have, you don't really need the part number. They figure it out for you. And probably want a rubber band. All right, before we get started, we're going to put the reel into free spool. We're going to back down on the drag. Then on the other side of the reel, we're going to back off on the clicker. Okay, 3 screws hold the 2 reel halves together on the Avets. Take your number 2 Phillips. See, I'm working on a white towel. I like the light colors just so I could see my hardware a little better. And I like a towel versus a hard surface for when I drop a piece of hardware, it won't bounce off the table and roll down the floor. Okay, these 2 reel halves are loose. And I am going to do a full teardown and winter maintenance on these, but I've already made a video for that. So I'll just link that in the corner of the page. I'm not going to make you sit through that again. But it's there if you want to watch it. Just wrap your rubber band around the line. It'll make life easier for you. Okay, the clicker arm is right here in the back of the reel, and it is held on by a C-clip that engages into a groove that's in the clicker pin. And to remove that, you're going to take your small straight slot screwdriver, just push it back. Be careful not to lose that. Take that out and set it aside for now. Okay, now to disengage the clicker arm from the pin, you're just going to push on the pin, push it all the way out of the reel, and it'll come out. Alright, once the pin's out, we're going to remove this Teflon washer. And we'll get all the old grease off of all these parts before we put them back together. And I'm going to wipe this off a little bit just so you can see better before I take the spring off. Okay. Now you can see the clicker arm is still attached to the reel body by the spring. And you're just going to get your small straight slot screwdriver under this ring of the spring and pop it off this pin. It doesn't require much force. Okay. And yes, the tooth is very worn down on this reel. I would say more than a 1/16 of an inch is missing from it. Okay, to remove the clicker arm from the spring, you're going to look at the spring and find the opening, and I treat it kind of like a key in a key ring. Hold the spring with one hand, and rotate the clicker arm or the key off the ring. And make sure you're putting the new clicker arm in the same orientation that you took the old one off. And if you had the opening of the spring facing up like I do, then the raised portion of the key, like the clicker tooth there, is going to face up as well. And putting it on is a little harder than getting it, especially if you don't have your glasses on. Oh, that's better. Just open that up just a little bit to make my life easier. Okay, I'm just going to pinch that closed with my finger. Okay, to reinstall the spring, I'm going to set the clicker arm with the spring attached inside the reel like this. I'm going to hold the clicker arm down against the reel body. And I'm going to use my straight slot screwdriver to position the spring on top of the pin. And I'm going to move over to actually hold the spring down with my finger. And I press down with the straight slot screwdriver and get that spring on its perch. Make sure to put your Teflon washer back on. Now to position the clicker arm on, I'm just going to use my straight slot screwdriver to stretch the spring. When I get it over the pin, I'll press down. You just want to make sure it's all the way engaged, because you need to expose that groove on the side for the C-clamp. Doesn't matter which direction the C-clamp comes in from. Found it easier to put my index finger over top of the pin while I push the clip on. If it's not going in, it's probably because your clicker arm isn't pressed down enough. There you go. Heard the click. She's on there. But let's at least do a test assembly of this and make sure we got our clicker working properly. Okay, put the two halves together, engage the clicker. Very nice. Very nice. All right. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you, and tight lines.